All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. We have a very special guest that's with us. On behalf of the athletic department, we're excited to host Mr. Kevin Schneider here at Governor Livingston High School to speak to our student athletes about a platform that he's created called Under the Brim, talking about mental health in regards to student athletes, trials, tribulations, going through the day-to-day of what it means of what it is to do what you do every day. And for those of you who have ambition of competing at the collegiate level, can hear some about his story. Just to give you some background, Kevin's a native of Lawrenceville, New Jersey. I've probably known Kevin since I was 5 years old. We grew up playing together all the way until we both graduated high school. He was the pitcher. I was his catcher until I graduated, and he went on to have not just a great high school career as a multi-sport athlete, but also went on to play at Monmouth University and was a standout pitcher there for them. Has seen it all from youth level to travel, high school, collegiate, state champion high school coach, coached at Immaculata University, and has a great story to share with you today. And I think it gives you some perspective on, one, what it means to be a student athlete, the rigors, the pressures that are involved, the things that you have to try and work on internally to make yourself the best person you can be for what you decide to pursue. So I'm really excited to have him speak to you about his story. He's going to make his way around the room. We're going to let him talk to you guys about his journey. And then at the end, we'll have some time for some questions. So let's welcome Mr. Kevin Schneider.
Thanks, CJ. Can you guys hear me on this? All right. I'm really honored to be here. Like I said, I don't really feel like standing all the way down there, so I'll probably walk towards you guys. But just go through a little bit more of my story. I always start off with two sides to it. And when I speak, I don't really have things that I write down or try to regurgitate that somebody else's. I just try to speak from the heart and be honest. So like CJ played, when I look at you guys, I think baseball guys. I was a baseball player. I was also a basketball player. I think I still hold the three-point record at Lawrence High School, no big deal. But I see myself in a lot of you guys, Obviously, I appreciate some of the girls that are here. But sports were my thing. I went on, I pitched at Monmouth University. I was All-American closer. I got right into coaching, owned a few baseball academies, did the travel ball thing. I was saying to Coach Roof, did the big time travel ball thing. My last travel ball team, we had 3 first rounders out of high school on my one travel ball team alone in 2016. Coached in high school, won state championships, won Catholic League championships. I know you guys are off to a great start this year, and I'm sure you guys will continue to do great things. Went to the collegiate level, coached at Immaculata, had some success there, a couple COVID years, but I left as the all-time wins leader, and I got into business. I started a glove company. I started a glove company called Emery Glove Company, named after my daughter. And you know it? Yeah. So Emery's the name of my daughter, and partnered with Nick Castellanos. My brother John is the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. I usually throw that in there because people are like, "Oh, that's cool," and I'm like, hey, second best coach in our family. It's not even close. But so I sold Emery Glove Company to Chandler Bats. I'm sure baseball guys know Chandler Bats. It's Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, right? A lot of big some of the best players in the world. And my story is that there was all that went on that hopefully that kind of sounded like I was bragging a little bit there, because that was just the one side, and it was all true, but it was kind of just a fake persona, because my real story is 20 plus years. I'm 40 years old of really crippling anxiety, depression, panic attacks, up and down battles with mental health struggles that led me to some really dark places. When you're struggling and when your brain is in chaos, you kind of look towards things to give you relief. And for me, the two biggest things that I looked toward were alcohol and then prescription drugs that I was prescribed. I consider myself, I'm a recovering alcoholic today. I don't drink, I'm sober, and it was really, really hard. And I'm really passionate about it because I hear people talk about mental health, and they say things like they have mental health days, and they wear certain colors for mental health and this and that. And I'm 100% lucky to be alive. And there was a lot of times where I didn't want to be alive. I was a head college baseball coach, which you guys look up to your coaches and whatnot. And I ended up in 2020 at a rehab on the same street as the private university I was a head college baseball coach of. I've been to the hospital, the emergency room, probably over 100 times. I couldn't drive, I couldn't fly. Where it took me were just things that I couldn't imagine. You know what I mean? Because to me, I was just a normal kid, right? I was the youngest of 3 boys. I had a good upbringing, good family, this athlete and all this stuff. But until you start to look at yourself and whatnot, you know, things can get bad. And it just kind of snowballed until I didn't know what else to do, and I needed help, and I ended up I had to take a leave of absence from work and go get professional help. Now, that by no means made sure that I was fine. That was in 2020. I didn't feel like I was ready to share my story until about a year ago. And what I think about is my whole life, I looked for all of these reasons to try to figure out why my brain and why my head was so messed up to me. I saw every sort of specialist and therapist and psychiatrist and psychologist. I did brain shockwave therapy. I did acupuncture, sleep therapy, anything and everything to try to figure out, like, all right, somebody tell me what's going on here. And within the last couple of years, in recovery, I started looking at myself, and I started looking at simple things that and simple words that we've heard our entire lives, but I started actually looking at those words and doing like what I call a moral inventory of myself and being honest. So my program is about being honest. And the reason why I like talking to you guys and I talk to colleges and stuff like that is I think you guys have it the hardest. You guys have it the hardest mainly because of social media, right? Like social media, there's some really good things about it. It can help grow businesses. It can help guys get exposure. You can meet people from different places that you couldn't. But if I were to say that it does more negative than it does good, that would be the biggest understatement of all time. Because everything in social media is fake. It's for the most part, it's fake, and it feeds our ego. And I'm going to talk to the baseball guys, right? It's about rankings, and it's about right there's. I was going to the I saw a couple baseball guys in the bathroom before, and you guys were talking about, hey, we're the number 3 ranked team in the state. It would be cool if we were number 1. Who does the ranking for NJ.com? Do you know who does it? Coach, do you know who does the ranking for NJ.com?
There's a lot of different theories, so to speak. There isn't one person.
Does a ranking at NJ.com have any outcome on your season? 0. But we put so much stake in it. We put so much stake on it. I were to guarantee that it's probably a nobody, right? That doesn't know nearly as much about baseball as your head coach or Mr. Hendricks. Mr. Hendricks, not Coach Hendricks. I would put my life on that, right? Perfect game. Who does the rankings for perfect game? Who does the rankings for PBR, right? But we care about what everybody says about us. We put so much value in what strangers think, right? That the desire is to be liked and to be cool and everything else like that. I got a little bit off topic there. But like I said, my mental health issues got really bad to the point where I didn't want to live. I have a daughter. My daughter's name is Emery, and I'm thankful that I got to the point of desperation that I was able to get help for her, and learn the things that I learned today. So I'm going to talk about a few things, and like I said, they're going to be basic. The first one is just about being present, right? It's just about being present and making progress in the present. Because for me, I destroyed myself for what I did in the past, mistakes I made in the past, and to say I worried about the future was an understatement. And I think kids do that more than ever. You worry about college, you worry about recruiting, you worry about, things that aren't very, very important. Today, I carry around, it's a green card that I got in recovery. And the slogan for recovery is just for today. So when I say to guys, like, make progress in the present, like, just be where your feet are just for today, right? Like, you guys that are going to play in college and stuff like that, like, don't worry about that yet. It's easy to stress about that. It's easy to stress about NILs and transfer portals and all the nonsense that goes on in the game today. Control what you can control. Make little, small, micro-win progress in the present where you are today. If you do that, you will blow past every one of your competitors, right? Everyone that puts so much value in rankings and what people say and this and that. You put blinders on and focus on making small wins, get better today, the 1%, stack pennies, whatever it is, things that I'm sure coaches said. But I'm going to read this one thing that I carry on with me every single day that I learned in recovery. It's called Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow. There are 2 days in every week about which we should not worry. 2 days we should be kept free from fear and apprehension. One of those days is yesterday, with its mistakes and cares, its faults and blunders, its aches and pains. Yesterday has passed forever, beyond our control. All the money in the world cannot bring back yesterday. We cannot undo a single act we performed. We cannot erase a single word we said. Yesterday is gone. The other day we should not worry about is tomorrow, with its possible adversaries, its burdens, its large promise and poor performance. Tomorrow is also beyond our immediate control. Tomorrow's sun will rise either in splendor or behind a mask of clouds, but it will rise. Until it does, we have no stake in tomorrow, for it is yet unborn. This leaves only one day, today. Any man can fight the battle for just one day. It is only when I add the burdens of these two awful entities, yesterday and tomorrow, that we break down. It is not the experience of today that drives men mad. It is the remorse or bitterness of something which happened yesterday and the dread of what tomorrow may bring. That was a little bit deep, and this has other things that I read every day. But if you just think about that, right, like how much you're actually focusing on where your feet are. So for me, that changed my life, because I crushed myself about what I did in the past or didn't do in the past, and I always worry about the future. The next thing, I heard Mr. Hendricks, tough calling you Mr. Hendricks, not CJ, say it before. It's just perspective, right? It's just perspective and the way you look at things. The way you look at things, it will absolutely change your life, right? I was very much a negative fault finder. I was unbelievably hard. I didn't really find the good. I was very much a transfer of blame. Why me? Like angry person, right? So my perspective that I learned was extremely poor. There's a thing that I read that, you can rejoice you can get angry that rose bushes have thorns, or you can rejoice that thorn bushes have roses, right? Like the way we look at things is everything. So perspective and having a little bit of a positive perspective, right? Like when I think about it for sports, it's always when something bad happens, and it's the woe is me, a bad call, and things like that. So the way you look at it, if you're really just honest for like what you have and all the good things that you have, right? That comes through like kind of like a trendy word of gratitude. I was unbelievably negative and selfish and didn't look at all the blessings and things that I have. So today, just changing my perspective, I don't get into religion and stuff like that. I consider myself a spiritual person and having a higher power and things like that. And when I pray in the morning and when I get up and at night, and I just ask God to keep me present. I ask him to keep me, focused on today. And I list the things that I'm grateful for. I always list my daughter and my family and other little things. If you start listing the little things that you're grateful for, it puts the kind of dumb stuff that we worry about, whether it was a social media post, a text message with a friend, some nonsense conflict and things like that, and it puts it in perspective. The last two are really the main things. The third thing, it's the phrase, your secrets make you sick, right? Your secrets make you sick, or your secrets keep you sick. The key to life is honesty. And it's really, really hard. And when I say honesty, I don't just mean like major things. I don't mean like, hey, did you steal a car? Yes or no? I mean like just being honest on a daily basis in every way, shape, and form. We want all these quick answers, and I wanted all these quick answers, whether it was in baseball, whether it was in coaching. Again, social media is so comical to me today because there's all these experts about these biohacking routines and people that wake up at 3 a.m. and do this and that, and they cold plunge and they all this stuff. I challenge every single person, before you do any of that, see if you can be 100% honest for one day. Be 100% honest for one day. And I mean that, like how many times have like you gotten a thing where one of your buddies reaches out or asks you to go somewhere and you lie to them. You're like, yeah, I would do that, but I have to, and you make up a lie, right? Like the truth will set you free. Just like small positive things like stacking wins will add up to and make you better, little tiny lies, right? Little tiny negative lies will absolutely crush you. And the biggest one I always look at for baseball is I always found as a coach and as a player, people lied that they wanted their teammates to do well, right? Like 9 guys play, 1 guy pitches. And I would see guys on my team in college and high school, and I remember doing it in college. I was one of 30 guys, and I wanted to pitch, where I almost didn't want people to do well because it gave me a better chance. So my one big thing as a coach was always earn your position by what you do really well, not by what somebody else fails at, right? So like any one thing that you lie to coach or whatever it is about, like, yeah, I'm all in. Yeah, I care about the team. Yeah, I want to win a state title, or I want to do this and that. I want to make history. It better be the truth, and your actions better back it up. So secrets, think about your parents as well, man. Your parents care about you more than anybody else. People have different family dynamics, but just telling the truth, owning your successes and your mistakes will literally set you free, right? And my secrets, my lies that I told built up to the point where I think that was a huge contributor to that chaos in my head that then wanted me to get an escape. And then the last thing I always say, I talk about the word proud. I say that guys need to be proud over happy and proud over cool. How are we doing on time, by the way? Good. When I say proud, like for the longest time, I wanted to be happy. There were some really dark times in my life where I would break down and say, why me? Why can't I just be happy? And all this stuff. And the word that I think I should have been looking for is proud. Because if you can make yourself proud, everything else kind of falls into place, right? Like at the end of each day, and I never did this before, when I pray and I sit down and I think about the day, I literally ask myself, like, am I proud of who I was today? Am I proud of who I was today? Did I do the next right thing, right? Am I proud as a son, for me, as a father, right? As a partner, as a teammate, like whatever it is, and you're gonna know instantly. It's always funny because we don't need anybody else to tell us when like we're not doing the right things. Like you know in your heart, in your gut. The hardest thing is just whether or not you're gonna be honest about it, you know, or whether or not you're gonna say like, yeah, I did this, but it's because coach is an a-hole. It's because coach has his favorites and this and that. Yeah, you know, I lied to my teacher, but you know, she doesn't get me. He's mean to me, so it's all right that I lied, right? Or are you gonna own it and say, yeah, like I have to be better, right? And every day is a new day. That's why the just for today, right, is you have a chance and a choice every single day. So you'll know at the end of the night whether or not you're proud of who you were, that person that day. And I know for me, man, when I'm proud of my actions and the way I'm living, and I'm living with integrity, I go to sleep and I sleep like a baby. When I know I was not living the right way, not living my life with integrity, I can't sleep. I could never sleep before. And then when I say over cool, right, the biggest thing that I worry about with you guys, again, it has a lot to do with social media, is the desire is to be cool and to be perceived as cool. The desire is to be liked, right? The desire isn't just to be great. The desire isn't to be of service. The desire isn't to, like, you know, do good things and have nobody find out just because it's the right thing to do. We care about strangers, we care about followers, we care about likes, who likes what, who follows what, what's trendy, and none of that is real. So like, I encourage everybody, because of the power of social media, to try to rise above it and you know, put the word proud over cool. I have a 14-year-old niece. She's a freshman in high school. And I was with her on Easter, and I heard her talking about she got into a fight with one of her girlfriends, and it was over, like, they were supposed to have a fight with this other girl, and she saw that she was liking her posts and said, well, I thought you didn't like her. Well, you lied to me and all this. And like, how much time do we all spend on that stuff? Maybe it's different for guys and girls and stuff like that. But like, none of that matters, man. Like social media and whatnot, like for a long time, the reason why I called this Under the Brim, I wanted to be perceived as this great, tough guy baseball coach that was cool and had all the answers and was the best and blah, blah, blah. And I was a disaster. Right? Like, I was an absolute disaster. I didn't want to live. I tried to not live. I would have recruits and then go home and try to, like, turn my lights off. You know what I mean? But like, I would post about, I was a state coach of the year. I got a promotion, whatever it was. People saw the good stuff. They didn't see the fact that, you know, I spent my free time hanging out at an emergency room parking lots where I lived because I thought I was gonna die 24/7. Like, that was the reality of my life. But I posted the guys that I trained that were first rounders. I posted my brother John pitching to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and winning a home run derby. You know, I posted Nick Castellanos as one of my boys, you know, hitting home runs in the playoffs and in the batting gloves that I make him and all the gear that I make him. So everybody said, yo, you're the man. Like, you're him, you're Hemi Neutron, you're this and that. Like, how many times do we have to, like, have a third party person put out a post and then, like, all of our buddies tag you in it and say, like, you're the best. Like, you're the best. And then we share it on our stories. Like, you're the best. I see these kids, like, and just like 40 times of you're him, you're the man. Hemi neutron, like whatever it is. Like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. You know? What are we doing? Like, you don't, if you're good with you, man, you don't need that stuff. Like, you don't need that stuff. Right? Like, if you guys are going to win the state, if you guys are going to, you know, beat whoever it is, Seton Hall Prep or whatever, whoever's supposed to be good, it's going to be because you guys come together and are a team. And you're like, yo, let's go to war. Like, we don't need outside people to tell us that we're good. Like, we know the work that we've put in, and it goes from there. But the desire to be cool is such a dangerous thing, man. Right? So you're going to Virginia, right? Yeah. And there's guys, right, that I worry about the better players almost more than I worry about the not so high profile players. And by the way, I don't give a about high profile, right? Because until you go to college, right, you go from there, nothing matters. Because right now, the way the transfer portal is in NILs, there's D3 guys and D2 guys and everyone that want to steal your lunch money and give you a wedgie and say, have fun in JUCO. You know what I mean? That's the truth, right? But when you're a top 100 PGL American, this and that, perfect game, prep baseball, this and that, we spend our time, what do we got to do next? We got to build my brand. I got to build my personal brand, right? I got to worry about NILs, and I build my personal brand. The kids that spend time worrying about their personal brand, and again, I ran a baseball company. I got a baseball glove company. I got 100 DMs a day. Hey, look at the number of followers that I have. You know, let's do a deal, this and that. You think I care? You think I ever care about how many followers a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid has? I paid Nick Castellanos $0, right? But that's what we value, right? I have one of the biggest agencies in the world who has 1 million all-stars, and their head marketing guy sent me an email and said, hey, who do you want to work with? Here's the kid's name, here's his ranking, and here is his followers on Instagram and TikTok. And I know the guy was just doing his job, and I didn't even respond to his email because I couldn't care less about his followers on Instagram or TikTok. Sure, maybe to sell gloves and this and that, but I don't care. Like, I couldn't care less. He didn't say, hey, here's a kid's name. He has a single parent mom. He works a job on the side. He volunteers at his church, right? He didn't say any of it. I partnered with Nick Castellanos because of who he is as a person, not because he has over 1,600 hits. Yeah, helps out that he's cool and this and that, but who he is as a person, as a father, as a brother, and as a man. Where I was like, yeah, dude, this is my kind of guy. You know what I mean? So it's not like the guys that want to be a better player, you guys have it harder, right? The upper echelon guys, the highly touted, committed guys, I think have it just as hard, if not harder, right? You guys have more people talk shit about you. Again, excuse my language. Right? I saw a thing on social media the other day, Max Clark on one of his cleats, he has a bunch of quotes from haters of people saying that, oh, Tiger shouldn't have taken me and you're too small and this and that, blah, blah, blah. What? I mean, for one, like, he's obviously a talented player, whatever he was overall out of high school and this and that. But bro, why are you even thinking about that? You know what I mean? Like a stranger, some crumb that sat behind his phone and said something negative about him, you gave a thought to? You know what I mean? You guys ever hear the Teddy Roosevelt speech, like, man in the arena? It's not the critic who counts, it's the man in the arena that counts. If not, listen to it, read it. Right? And my brother John's a major league manager. There's 30 of them in the world. 30 of them in the world. If I were to type my brother's name into Instagram or type my brother's name into Twitter right now, especially because they just lost 4 games in a row, there would be probably 100,000 people ripping him to shreds. There'd be 100,000 strangers ripping him to shreds. Same thing with Nick Castellanos. Same thing with whatever. My sister-in-law gets DMs saying that her husband should kill himself for how bad of a coach he is and everything else like that. Like that's what it is. Like that's what baseball is. Like we want to be the higher level guys and this and that. Like we want that. We want to talk about pressure. I want to talk about a game of failure and whatnot. Some people talk, a lot of things have been public about Jaron Duran and his stuff in the clubhouse on Netflix. And you baseball guys see that, right? And just all the things that he heard from the fans and all the negativity and game of failure and game of failure and game of failure. Jaron Duran, MLB player, stud, big swole, jacked, right? All that, tried to take his life. Would that have happened without social media? Would that have happened without? No, it wouldn't have. Right? But so like, be proud of who you are. Care less about being cool, because the less you care about being cool, the less you're going to put value in social media, you know, and just fake nonsense. And filters and highlight reels. And look, content is a part of life, is a part of business. It helped my business grow. It helps, I use it to spread my message. Now it's a part of it. But understand what it is. Understand the people that use it for good and the people that use it for bad. So there's a ton of different things that I could talk about this stuff forever. Perspective, preparation, right? Preparation is another one, man. If you're prepared, all your anxiety and everything else will go away. As a baseball player, as a coach, all I wanted my guys to do was be prepared. Why do you balk? Why do you mess up a first and third? Why do you mess up whatever it is? You're not prepared. You're not prepared, and you were scared. You didn't put the work in, and you go from there. When you're prepared, you have nothing to worry about. When you're not prepared, that's when bad things happen. It's when self-doubt creeps in. I know as a coach, and I'm sure coach is the same, that if you guys are prepared, if you went out, did things confidently with conviction and whatnot, and you lost, you got beat, that happens. That's part of the game. That's part of what makes it great. But if you're not prepared, right, and a lack of preparation is a mental mistake, in my opinion. That's when a coach is going to be upset. That's when I've been upset at myself in life, when I've gone into things, whether it be a test or whether it be a game, whether it be a relationship, anything, I wasn't prepared, and I therefore failed because of that. So I know I was a little bit all over the place. I know we don't have that much time. My biggest thing was just, when I started this Under the Brim thing, I called it Under the Brim because everybody always saw the baseball success, and I wanted people to know what was really going on inside my crazy head. Right, and I wanted them to know that it wasn't as good as they thought, and 99.999% of the world that you guys see, it's not as good as you see. What you see isn't real. And then I wanted people to know that if that is the case, man, that yeah, there's people that you can reach out to and care about you and whatnot, but just that it's okay to talk about it. Like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have self-doubt and anxiety and be stressed about stuff and be depressed and be upset, because I'm 40 years old, and for a long time, I was afraid to talk about it. I just ate it and ate it and ate it and ate it. And like I said, I don't want to get into too deep of the dark of the stuff, but I'm 100% lucky to be alive, and then when you have those things like that happen, it changes your perspective. And I think that it happened for a reason. And I don't care about being cool anymore, right? I care about being of service and being able to help. So I've spoken to different colleges and, D1 teams, local teams, high schools, whatever it is. And I have people that reach out to me all the time. And I want to be an outlet to help, So if there's anything that I can ever help with, if it's asking a question, if it's having a conversation, if it's putting you in connection with somebody else. I work with an unbelievable woman who's a clinical in the medical field that helps people get help, you know, because there's kind of like people talk about it, like it's trendy, things come out like crises, Jaron Duran speaks out, a kid does something in crisis, then it kind of goes away again. And I think that's going to lead to more crisis. And I think, you know, the more honest conversations we can have about it, and then have some, you know, some service to actually help and follow through with it, the better we're going to be. So I appreciate you guys listening and sharing listening to my story and letting me share. I consider this stuff a real honor, right? I have all the respect in the world for Mr. Hendricks and Coach. I've known them for a long time. I literally grew up with Mr. Hendricks, so this is a really cool thing for me. And like I said, I don't care about being cool. I just want to be of service and help out any kid that I can. And if it's one, that's what makes me feel good. So that's what I got.
We have a little bit of time for questions, so if you have any questions for Kevin you'd like to ask about his experience, about kind of what he's gone through, now would be the time to do that. Again, open book, so feel free to fire away.
And I know questions are usually tough. Like I spoke to a college the first time I did it, and I asked about questions, and no kid asked me a question. And I said, if anyone wants to talk after, and 25 kids came after. But one thing I'd say the same thing to you guys as I would to my 6-year-old. As I say to my 6-year-old, things are awkward. We're insecure about things. Everybody's insecure. Everybody's scared. All right. If anybody were to say something about you know, whatever it is, they're the most scared and most insecure out of anybody. So any questions, don't even necessarily have to be about that. It can be about baseball, about business, life, anything. I always like to see who like the bravest dudes are. You got.
I'm just wondering, why did you sell your glove company?
Why did I sell my glove company? It's
I
good.
feel like, I mean, you got me to buy a mitt, so couldn't have been that bad.
No, so I sold it. So I actually sold it in 2021. So most people don't know that I sold it in 2021, and then they hired me to run it for the next 3 years. So I rebranded Chandler, and then I went back to Emory. It's tough. Money's a big part of the world, right? I started it when I got out of rehab, but I was a head college baseball coach making $48,000 a year with a kid, right? Like my car got repossessed, all that stuff. So when I had the chance to, for one, get a large lump sum of money, and then partner with a company that has those type of players, for me, it was a total win-win. I thought I would have been able to do in 1 year, that would have taken me 5, right? Now, would I do it again? Absolutely not. Because I learned that people took my baby literally and I think messed it up. And I also realized that I gave so many people in the baseball industry way too much credit, right? I talked to the CEO of Marucci and Chandler Batts and all these big names that you guys see on TV. I gave them all so much credit, and I didn't for me, I was like, I know more than this guy, you know, like business-wise, relationship-wise, glove-wise, quality-wise, this and that. And I think the same thing about baseball. Like we put baseball players and coaches and all this stuff like on a pedestal. They're normal people, man. Like they're normal people. Like I know as a baseball, I could coach anywhere, right? Like I turned down a Power 5 job before I started the company and this and that. Like I said, my brother just turned 46, grew up in our town. He's a normal dude. So the one thing I would say about that is yeah, have respect for everyone. Just like I always say, like have respect for every opponent, right? Regardless of their record or whatever it is. If you're that good, absolutely smoke them, dog walk them, shake their hand, and get back on the bus. There's no need to say you stink. There's no need anything else like that. The baddest dudes don't say anything. have respect for everyone, but don't give anyone like too much credit. Because like I gave them a lot of credit that I thought they were going to show me and teach me all this stuff. And I was like, nah, I'm still the smartest one in the room. You know? Yeah.
Do you think that that in your throughout your career, right? You say that you believe in a higher power, that
Yeah.
it's actually Jesus Christ or something like that, right? Do you believe that some at one point in your career you were stressed out about where you were and you were trying to aim high, but then you realized that at one point you were praying to be where you currently were, and you realized you're the way you were, and so you're kind of because you were once out of your position. Yeah. Did you ever feel that you're
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. No, it's all right. It's all right. That was a good question. So I talked about a higher power and whatnot. I didn't have one. I was raised going to church and stuff like that, but I didn't believe in God, you know? And then in recovery, they teach you about having a higher power and giving things up to a higher power. And for me, that's God. And I believe in it now because I realized I couldn't do it myself. You know what I mean? Like I 100% couldn't do it myself. And I fought it my way, my will has to be my will for so long. And my way got me to where I literally didn't want to live. Right? So like for me, just being able to give some of my stress and some of my burdens of life up to my higher power, like, which is God, changed my life. And I didn't do that until a couple of years ago. So it's not necessarily about like God or Catholicism or Christianity, or for me it's more of a spiritual thing of just a higher power that's bigger than us. Because I really lacked humility for a lot of time, a long time, and just thinking I was so special and I had all the answers, you know? That same card that I have that I carry around, the first thing that the front page says, "But for the grace of God, miracles happen." And then it says, "A guide to living. You can't blame anyone but yourself if you stumble twice over the same stone." It makes a lot of sense to me. Have the moral stamina to stand firmly for right, truth, and justice. Acquire the habit of being faithful to friendships and responsibilities. The greatest pleasure in life is to do a good turn in secret and have it discovered by accident. You know what I mean? Like that's the stuff. So like, is that a specific religion? No. That's a guide to living for me, of just living with integrity and doing what's right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the question.
A big reason why I thought it was important for Kevin to come here today is because he's lived the experience that you're going through right now, right? He's been in that seat, hearing somebody talk about what life can potentially look like 10, 20 years from now. The beauty that you all have is that you get to live in the now, right? You get to be a kid. You get to play things that make you feel happy and make you feel good about yourselves. All right, whether it's basketball, track and field, football, baseball, it doesn't matter. You get the privilege to be able to do what you enjoy. You don't got a mortgage to pay. You don't got to worry about when rent is due. All right, you don't got a car. You don't got a lot of things that you're going to have to worry about 10, 15 years from now. So I think when he talks about embracing the moment and enjoying today and winning today, I think I wrote it on the baseball team board. You want to know today. Like today is the most important day of your season. Whether you're a basketball player, track, athlete, football, today is the most important day of your season. Today's the most important day of your life. Take sports out of it. So if you live for today and you win the day, then you can feel good about it when you go to bed at night. You can feel good about how you accomplished everything that you did. And don't minimize the things that you do, ever. Take a lot of pride, as Coach talked about, in what you do. Because not everybody gets the life that you get to live every single day. We all have our own stuff. We all have it. Okay? We all have tough home. We all have tough stuff that goes on at home. We all have tragedies that happen in our lives. We all go through stuff. It just looks a little different from person to person. But just remember, for all of you that chose to come here today, and I'm very appreciative for you being here to hear Kevin talk, you get to be here. I know you keep hearing me say that, just like a great teammates make great people. You get to be here. You get to go to GL. You get to play baseball for this group. You get to play basketball here, football, track. You get to do that. You don't have to. You can be another kid in the hallway sitting on the floor eating their lunch right now, not hearing some of this wisdom that he was able to give you. You get to do what you do every day. Don't ever forget the privilege that you have in doing that. Because I promise you, the coaches that were here, even Coach Roof saying it, Coach Roof doesn't have to do this. You don't think there's places chomping at the bit to have a coach like that run their program? You get to play for him. You get to have the parents that you have and the teachers that you have and the friends that and the friend groups that you've created. You get to do that. You don't have to get that. And I think part of the story that he tells you today is that he didn't appreciate those moments.
No.
And now he does. Eventually you'll find it. Our goal as adults, people who have lived it, is that you find it a lot sooner than later. So you get to live a full life that you get to enjoy and be proud of. So I'm very appreciative that Kevin got to come speak with you today. I hope that you got to get some perspective about what life looks like under the cap, right? Under the brim. Because nobody knows what you're going through except you, that person in the mirror that looks at that person in the face every single day. So I hope that all of you, again, took something positive from this. I hope that you all go on to have great seasons in whatever you're currently in. And thank you again for taking the time to be here today. So another round of applause for Kevin.
Thanks, guys.